Hi guys, today I'm doing my book review for The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. I've got my Camp Half-Blood shirt on. So if you don't know what The Blood of Olympus is, you probably do, but if you don't, it's the final book in the Heroes of Olympus series, the spin-off from the Percy Jackson and the Olympian series. So if you have not read the Percy Jackson series or the Heroes of Olympus series, if you haven't read all 10 books, you should not watch this video. You should just leave. I'm not going to do a non-spoiler section because this is the last book in a series. So just leave now if you haven't read all 10 books. And then once you're done with this one, you can come back and you can cry and fangirl with us. So see you then. Bye. Also, I want to say that this video is going to be super scattery. All over the place. Like, it's crazy. It's going to be really long too. So if you don't have a snack already, just yeah. So I got this book. I went to Walmart at midnight to get it because I needed it like the second it came out. So my dad took me and my brother to Walmart to get this book. And yeah, so I have a little bit of footage from when I was at Walmart and I'll put that right here, I guess. Hello everybody, so I'm at Walmart. Me and my brother and my dad are here waiting for the Blood of Olympus. It's like 15 minutes till midnight. I think I'm getting a little more used to vlogging in public. Anyway, I'm going to put this footage into my book review, so they said that once it's midnight, we could get the book. I'm so excited. I'm wearing my Camp Half-Blood shirt, and I'm just with all the books right now. I'll let you know when I actually get the book, because that's going to be like fangirling time. That crazy, so see you then. I have it. I have it. So yeah, that is just a little bit of an adventure. It was pretty fun, I guess. Walmart is kind of creepy, especially at midnight though. So I gave this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was probably my least favorite of all 10 books, to be completely honest. It was just, I was expecting, same thing with the cover, okay? It's sort of, I still gave it 5 stars because it's the last book and I did love some aspects of it, but just like with the cover, I was expecting something more epic and like, boom, this is the last book ever. The cover, while it is kind of prettier in person, it just didn't blow me away. I wanted it to be more like, if you can see it right there, I wanted it to have the 7 on it because I thought that would just be amazing and epic and beautiful. But that didn't deliver, and this book I just feel was, I don't know how to explain it. At the end, I sort of felt like through all 5 books, well actually mostly like the Bark of Athena up, all 7 demigods have been together as like one family. And while I do like that the camps are now at peace and they can go back and forth and see each other, I feel like once they defeated Gaia, they basically, like, the 7 just, like, went off into their own thing. Like, they didn't even see, well, oh wait, yes they did. They did. Okay, never mind. When they were talking about Leo. I feel like they just sort of went off and did their own thing and didn't really stay quite tight-knit. Okay, so, yeah. I marked just a few little things that I wanted to talk about. Just a couple. So the yellows are mostly like funny parts, so I'm just going to go through this little segment where I just quote the funny parts so that maybe you'll remember them if you forgot, because I just think that they're so funny, and if you forgot about them, I don't want you to forget about them. I want you to hear them again. So just little parts from the front to the back that I thought were funny. Okay, so when Jason and Piper and Annabeth are at like with the spirits and the ghosts and everything, and Jason gets, you know, stabbed, and he's like, hey, at least I didn't get knocked unconscious again. And I was like, hey, Jason, you're actually being funny for once. I have to say that this book made me like Jason more. I think he was really cool and really delivered in this book. Also, if you still don't like Piper after this book, what is wrong with you? What? I don't understand how your brain works. She is so awesome and she has done so much to help the 7 and she's just amazing. I don't know how you still don't like her. You're crazy, okay? Don't talk to me. Your brain isn't working right. So, also, this is sort of like a bittery, I don't know if it's really funny, but not the first Reina chapter, but when she's like, there are too many of them, and then she's like, when she died, the words would probably be written on her tombstone. There were too many of them. I don't know why I found that funny. It's kind of sad. I forgot about this part. Okay, So during a Leo chapter, when Leo is working on something up in the ship, and only like he's like halfway into it, so you can only see like the lower half of him, and Piper's like, you need to come to this meeting, and Leo's just like, talk to the pants, Piper. I thought it was so funny. I just love Leo so much. Ah. This isn't a funny part, but anyway, I loved when we find out that Hazel has drawn Leo a picture of Calypso. I love that, because after they got the 7 all back together on the Argo 2, she went into Leo's room and she was like, explain! And so he did, and she was like, okay, describe her, and she drew him a picture of her, and it looked just like her, and he could just look at it when he missed her, and I thought that was so sweet. Good for you, Hazel. That was sweet. Oh my gosh, I absolutely adored the the Coach Hedge on Buford the table, the little hologram of Coach Hedge. I loved when they were all sitting for the meeting at the around the table, and Jason had his shirt off because he was changing his bandage from the wound, and over the speakers it's just like, put some clothes on! I thought it was so funny. That part killed me. I laughed so hard. It was hilarious. If you didn't find that funny, I don't know, like, I'm sorry for you, but that was hilarious. Okay. Alright, this I have to talk about because I'll never forget this part because it's just so funny. When Annabeth is like, Percy, you're drowning your pancakes! And Percy's like, I'm a Poseidon kid. I can't drown, and neither can my pancakes. He's so funny. Everything he said had me laughing. Well, not everything, but like, I love him so much. I also thought it was funny when Jason and Percy are underwater and they're seeing the daughter of Poseidon, and Jason's like, yeah, Gaia promised you leadership and blah 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 blah, because every monster they come across, they're like, well, Gaia promised me blah 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 blah, and I was like, Jason, you had another good line, good for you. I also thought it was funny during the Nico chapter when they're in the town, the Buford town, and Coach Hedge is like, I still don't get it. They named a town after Leo's table? Oh my gosh, I loved the chapters. They were Leo chapters. When I was like half asleep and I was reading it, so I don't really remember exactly what they were doing right now. But the whole idiot mode thing, that thing was so funny. Oh, and I loved that whole part just because it was Leo and Piper and Jason, just like in The Lost Hero, just the 3 of them, and it was really sweet. And then there's the whole idiot mode thing, and I just like died laughing because it was just hilarious. It was so funny when I don't even remember his name. It's hard to pronounce. Where is it? Kekrops. Okay? He's like, snake people do not drink milk. We are lactose intolerant. And Frank's like, me too! Oh, well, not reptile, but lactose intolerant. But I could be a reptile. I also love the part when Percy was like, your zodiac sign? I'm a Leo. And Leo's like, no, stupid. I'm a Leo. You're a Percy. Oh, that killed me. It was so funny. Okay, now we are going to get into just parts that I liked. What do I even have marked here? Okay. Oh yeah. I was so happy when, and I told you this was going to be scatterbrained. It's very scatterbrained. I loved the part when Tyson came to rescue Raina, Nico, and Coach Hedge, and I was like, wait, why is Octavian there? And then I sort of read it slowly, so I had time to process, and I was like, oh my gosh, it's Tyson and Ella! And it was really nice. So, when Leo made the little instrument thing for Apollo, the Valdezinator, and it played Calypso's song, oh, that was beautiful. It was beautiful. And then he had to give it away. He ended up with her in the end. I was crying so much. I cried so much at the end of this book. All of these characters have gone through so much development throughout the course of these books. But it's just, I cried and cried and cried for the last like 50 pages non-stop. That's like an hour of crying. My eyes were so red after. I can show you a picture right here. It's not pretty. It's not. But yeah, just like once Leo dies, I don't like to talk about it, but once he dies and when the six, sorry, I'm gonna start crying again. When the six are talking about him around the table, and I knew, because I accidentally looked, I was like being stupid, and I was like, oh, who's the last chapter POV from? And I was like, oh, Leo, he lives! And so I kind of knew he didn't stay dead. Plus I knew he had the little potion thing to save his life. I also love the part when Jason goes to get Piper, and he finds this place in the Zeus cabin with the stars, and he reenacts their first kiss that wasn't real, that Piper is always thinking about, and he made it real, and then they told stories about Leo, and that whole part. I used to hate Piper and Jason. Now I love Piper. I've loved her since like Mark of Athena, House of Hades-ish, and now I wouldn't say I love Jason, but I do like him. That part was so just, oh. And I really wish that they had chapter POVs from everybody, all of the 7, like they did in the House of Hades, but not in this one, which I think is ridiculous since it's the last book. I wish we had Frank and Hazel POVs, because I feel like we didn't really see a lot of them in this book, just because we didn't, have their POV. And Percy and Annabeth, at least Percy. There was not enough Percabeth in this book. And I know that this is not the Percy Jackson series, this is about other characters too. But I really wanted at least one Percy chapter where you can just have Percy and Annabeth being alone for the last time ever, just a cute Percabeth moment. And then, oh my gosh, I wanted so much for Percy and his mom to reunite. I mean, they say that Coach Hedge, Percy gave a letter to Coach Hedge to send to his mom to tell her that he's alive. But I wanted him to go back home to his mom's apartment and for them to hug and beautifulness, but it didn't happen, and that would have been like my favorite part of the whole book. But oh, also I wanted him to reunite with Grover. I mean, I'm sure they saw each other, but we didn't get to see it. I wanted to see him and Annabeth and Grover all together again, like in the old series, and just one moment, just 1 or 2 Percy chapters, Rick, please, please, because just, thinking about the ending of this book makes me emotional. I can't think about it. Okay, they do talk about, Percy's mom, and he's getting all emotional. He's like, my mom, she doesn't know I'm alive, and he sent letters, but it's on page 393 in case you want to go back and read it. It's very sad. And on that same page, we find out, I marked it with red so that I wouldn't forget to talk about it. Okay, Magnus Chase is Annabeth's cousin. I thought maybe it would be one of her brothers, and then I read this part and it was like, oh, well, we never really see each other, and my dad and my uncle don't get along. And I was like, it's because he's a Norse god, right? Then I read the official synopsis for Magnus, for the Sword of Summer, and it's in Boston. So Annabeth's cousin is Magnus. Oh yeah, I figured that out before I even read the synopsis, so I was really proud of myself. Oh, what are these blue parts I haven't even gotten to yet? Okay, so yeah, way back. I was really happy when we actually got to read about a daughter of Poseidon, because I've always wanted him to write about a daughter of Poseidon, and for Percy to have a sister. I just thought that would be really cool, and it happened even though she's kind of weird and like 20 feet tall. I don't care. It was really cool to read about a daughter of Poseidon, and that whole part was really pretty cool. So I'll talk about my favorite part in the entire book later. I forgot to say what my favorite part was. My favorite part of the entire book was when all of the gods came and helped their kids. I thought it was so beautiful, and all of Annabeth was fighting with Athena, and Percy was fighting with Poseidon, and Jason got to meet Zeus for the first time. I just thought it was the best part of the whole book. Oh yeah, on page 406, the end of a Piper chapter, it's the cover, in case you want to go read back that part. It's the cover, and it's really cool. It's like when he jumps down. It was so awesome. I don't know why, I just had to mark that. Oh, I loved it during the Nico chapter when he was reflecting back to the Titan's curse, when they just picked up Nico and Bianca, and it's like, Thalia's like, he's hot, and he's like, Percy's like, yeah, he's the sun god, and Thalia's like, that's not what I meant. On page 431, also a Nico chapter, when Chiron and Grover and Clarice and all of the people from the old series show up, and they're like got all their weapons and they're coming to fight, and I thought that was just a beautiful moment with, like, you know, the characters from the other series. I really liked that part. I also loved the entire part when they were with Nike or Victory and they were talking about the Nike shoes and everything. I just think that that whole battle was really fun. You know what I was expecting with this book is that it would be more like The Last Olympian. I loved The Last Olympian. I loved how, like, basically the whole book was like the battle and it was just stretched out and amazing. And I loved the end on Olympus. We just got like 50 pages of peace and tranquility and on Olympus and partying and not worrying about them dying anymore because it's the last book, and it was so beautiful. I loved the ending of The Last Olympian. This book was just kind of, I don't know how to explain it. It was just not what I was expecting at all. I was expecting, and I really wanted this to happen, I wanted them to do like they did in The Last Olympian. Not too repetitive, but I wanted them to be on Olympus, all 7 of them. And I wanted the gods to grant Frank a wish to lose the curse of his wood, because he could still die at any time. And he's over that fear of dying, but he could still die, like, at any time. And I don't want him to die. They just need to get rid of that curse, get rid of that wood. And also I wanted them to grant Annabeth a wish. I wanted her to wish for her backpack that has Daedalus's laptop and her knife from Luke in it. I really wanted her to get her knife back, because she got it when she was 7 from Luke, and if you haven't read the Demigod Files or Diaries, it's the Demigod Diaries. Anyway, there's this whole story behind the knife, and then he gives it to her when they find her when she's 7, and it's really sweet. And the laptop was so cool. Like, I want her to have that back. Anyway. Oh my gosh. Just before Leo goes kaplooey and Octavian goes kaplooey, I loved that he got Festus back, that he was working on, that the thing he was working on the whole book was turning, like, doing like a thing where the ship can turn into Festus. Oh, I was so happy to just see him riding around on Festus again. I think that was so beautiful. I loved that part. Right before tears, you know. An oath to keep with the final breath. It all makes sense now, and it's heartbreaking, and I don't want to think about it. Oh, I loved when, and I keep saying this, but anyway, I loved the part when Percy and Annabeth are like, we're gonna spend senior year together in New York, and then we're gonna go to college in New Rome, and then after that, yeah, marriage. The last chapter, the last Leo chapter, was so sad and beautiful. Some things that I wish had happened were also, I wish that, because you know when Annabeth went on the Argo too, she brought her Yankees cap even though it wasn't working because Athena's Greek and Roman sides were sort of like messed up. And so her gift from Athena, her invisibility cap, wasn't working. But she just brought it with her just because she felt like she needed to. And I was like, oh, so once the Greeks and Romans are sorted out, the hat's gonna work again and she's gonna use it in the final battle to defeat Gaia. No, she didn't. It's gone too. All of her possessions except for Percy are basically gone. I mean. Anyway, I made a list of the people who died, and to be honest, I am so shocked that only 2.5 people died. I'm so shocked. Like, that's crazy. So Phoebe died. If you don't remember her, she was in the Titan's Curse. She was with Artemis and Zoe and everyone. So yeah, she was, I remember her from the Titan's Curse. And so I was kind of sad when she died. And that was like towards the middle of the book, and the next person who died was Octavian / Leo. And then Leo came back to life, and only 2 people died. Thank you, Rick Riordan. Yeah, Octavian's really creepy. He was just like basically a psychopath weirdo in The Son of Neptune and The Mark of Athena. But in this one, he's like evil. He's like still kind of pathetic. He's kind of like Draco Malfoy like that. He thinks he's all tough and scary, but he's kind of just a wimp. He's like a psychopath though. Like, whoa, this guy started out murdering stuffed animals and now he's like trying to kill the Greeks, even though all the other Romans are like, Greeks are okay. Okay, I just remembered a funny part that I have to talk about. So, remember when they're charging into battle to defeat Gaia? Or, I think it's either then or it's like after that when they were at the like dining hall. But I loved it when Raina did this like battle charge that was like all Roman and yeah, you know, and then Percy was like, so go Greeks! And it was so funny. I just love Camp Half-Blood. Camp Jupiter's okay, but they're very strict and orderly, and I'm not saying that's bad, but Camp Half-Blood is more like a family, you know what I mean? So, okay, Rick Riordan made some amazing references in this book. He referenced Doctor Who, The Hunger Games, Star Wars, Captain America, Mario Party / Nintendo, and Twitter. It was amazing. My favorite was Doctor Who and The Hunger Games personally, but that was pretty cool. Again, I wasn't blown away. It was probably my least favorite of the 10, at least, of this series. And I wasn't a huge fan of the House of Hades. And this one, I think, I feel like it didn't flow as well. Like, all the stories, it was like, because normally it's just the 7, and they're all mostly around the same area, so it's just like flowing like that. This one was like, does that make any sense? Because it makes sense in my mind, but I feel like I'm just acting like a crazy person right now. Anyway, after I finished it, well, when I sat down to finish it, I was like all prepared, I was ready to finish this. I had like 100 pages, 100 pages left, and yeah. So I was all prepared, and I was like, let's do this like a Roman, even though I'm not. I'm Roman, I'm a Greek. Camp Half-Blood for the win. But anyway, so I sat down, had my hot chocolate, had my lights on, my pretty white lights, and I was ready to do it. And then I just started crying because I knew this was the end, and like this was the last time I was ever gonna just sit down and read new Percy Jackson. And it just hit me like a bolt of lightning. It was like, boom! This is the end. And it just made me start crying. And that whole 100 pages, I was so emotional from that. Just realizing that this is it. This is the last time I'll never not know what's gonna happen. And then the last like 50 pages, I was basically, well, 30 pages, I was sobbing. From Leo dying on. And then I gave myself like 10 minutes, and then I went downstairs to my family, and I couldn't stop crying, and it was so embarrassing, but I just couldn't stop. It was an emotional night. I was very emotional over that book. I'm sure if I read it again, I would be too, but probably not as much because it's already over. It's over. Forever. I'm so sad. I don't want to think about it or I'll start crying again. So, okay. That was my review for The Blood of Olympus by Rick Riordan. If you have not finished it yet and you're still here, shame on you. Shame on you. Okay? I'm really glad I didn't get spoiled on a single thing for this book, and I just stayed away from social media basically. But overall, I really liked it. It was my least favorite, but I can't hate a Rick Riordan book. I just can't hate it. There's always something to love. Even if it's just one thing, there's something to love in a Rick Riordan book. But yeah, so I did give it 5 out of 5 stars. This is the end. So yeah, I'm really sad that it's over. But I'm going to use Doctor Who wisdom on this one. Don't cry because it's over. Smile because it happened. Keep that in mind as you have finished this book, and just be thankful for this little infinity. I'm making so many references. Be thankful for this little infinity, because we'll never forget it. Thank you, Rick Riordan, for giving the Percy Jackson to us. I'm so thankful for him, and he's changed my life. Okay. This is getting mushy, so I'm gonna stop filming now. What was your favorite part of the entire book, and what do you think of the ending? Definitely let me know all of your thoughts in the comments, because I really want to discuss this with you guys, because I haven't really talked about it with anyone. So please, please, please comment what you thought, what rating you gave it, your, I don't know, favorite part. So I'll talk to you guys in my next video. Bye.